So there's a case study that I would like to talk about. This case study is something that has been quite recent in our firm. The visa is quite old. It's the subclass 163 visa, which is equivalent to the 1A visa. Okay. We had a client who did import and export out of Vietnam, but she operated the business in Australia since 2013, where she obtained orders from customers in Vietnam. She purchased the goods from the suppliers in Vietnam and delivered them to the customers. Okay. The migrant, she owned and controlled the family trust, which owns the business. Okay. She did employ more than 2 full-time eligible employees and invested 270,000. The minimum requirement is 100,000. She operated the business for more than 2 years and applied for the 890 PR visa, which is equivalent to the 888A permanent residency. So what happened here is that the visa was actually refused on the grounds that the migrant failed to meet the net assets in the business test. Here, this financial statements were not certified or signed off. The balance sheet, for instance, the net assets was close to zero. And this is because the total assets are 430,000, and the total liability was 430,000 as well. So this meant essentially that the assets in the business was zero, and it was done incorrectly. And here they had to appeal to the AAT. And the issue was the agent on file was not in Australia. And that's where we had to come and assist. Okay. At the AAT decision, we prepared new financial statements and supporting the evidence. We properly applied the business assets the net assets in the business test, where the AAT found in favor of the migrant and remitted the case back to the department for processing. But then this led to a second refusal because the department found that the business source and service overseas suppliers and customers and refused the visa again on the grounds that the migrant didn't actually operate the business in Australia. Okay. So although that we won on the first time, they still found another issue the second time, and we had to go to the AAT. Upon the second decision, we submitted further evidence that the migrant took considerable steps to export new products, made attempts to obtain approvals in Australia and overseas for the new product. So here the AAT found in favor of the migrant and remitted the case back to the department for further processing. So, and on the second one, we actually won the case and the client now has a permanent residency. So this is where it's quite important that you understand that lodging an application is one thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Meeting the eligibility is another, but maintaining it for your pathway to permanent residency is quite tricky if you don't have the support.
Yeah.
So sometimes we do have people telling me that there are representatives in their home country that is cheaper. Of course, they're cheaper because they're working on their own currency, but of course they know that they aren't going to service you when you get here to Australia, and you don't have a representative to help you.
I think in the past we've encountered so many clients on these sort of business migration sort of pathways coming over here, getting their visa, then arriving on shore. The concern that we have with them is that once they're onshore, they're not advised by their agent offshore to start the business, start the process now. You know, the agent offshore has already taken their fees and they've moved on.
Correct. That's
you know what I mean? We talk about the 132 and the 24-month surveys. The agents doesn't push them to do it because in the end of the day, they know it's already paid for. They don't need to keep track of the client the whole time.
That's right. So that's where we go back to. We are here even after you got your visa. And why we say that is because we actually have a relationship with all of our investors who continue to buy properties and projects and businesses. And that's, as a law firm, we continue to represent them and assist them. So we're here not even from the time of your permanent residency, but perhaps the time you have your citizenship.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. We also understand how to present and demonstrate to a state on why they should choose you. We also know that each states have limited quotas and understand the inner workings on what they might expect for particular clients and particular projects. So that's why we understand how to make you stand out amongst others. Okay. We also identify potential issues where we know what the case officer wants to see. And this is the benefit of actually representing clients at the
Mm.
tribunal and also in court, because we know not only what the case officer wants to see, but we know what the member and the judge wants to see in terms of how do we interpret the act and the regulations. Okay. Every case is different. We can't tell you from the beginning without reviewing your documentations that you are eligible. Sometimes there are issues about source of funds.
Mm.
I have another issue, for instance, that out of nowhere, one of my clients has been accused of, what was it, human trafficking out of Vietnam
Mm.
during the Vietnam War.
And this was
Okay,
during the visa application process as well.
correct. And you need to know how to attend to these matters.
Mm.
These matters aren't listed on the website when you look at the immigration portals.
Mm.
These are in the acts and regulations for the character grounds, for your health grounds, identity issues. There's a lot of things to consider. Okay. And what's important is to make sure that you have a decision ready legal submission. That is a document that outlines and complements your evidence, okay, your arguments, and we cite them back to the regulations and the acts to ensure that we cover every basis to ensure that you're eligible. And this is how you protect yourself from being refused or having your visa cancelled, okay? And we also assist you with pre-interview training. This means we sit down with you, we advise you on what the state officer might expect for the state nomination, and help you to understand what they would like to hear in order to nominate you. So this is quite crucial as well. So what's next, Brian?
So I think in the end of the day, right, the best way we always make approaches with clients is actually sit down with them and obviously understand where their background lies and what sort of, what sort of business history or like investment history they're from. We like to vet things, obviously things like, your accounting books, your investments. We looked at things like obviously your valuation of property and whatnot. See, these things are very important because we have a lot of clients actually call us, by the way, and they say the first thing is, I want to do a business visa. I have money or I have, investments in place. But it's always good that we actually sit down and actually assess the documentation for our clients.
I think it's also really crucial that we also handle clients' expectations.
Definitely.
Some people believe that once we receive the documents, we can lodge the visa the next day. But you need to realize that it's very sensitive to things such as currency exchange, right? We need to make sure that that is done correctly and your assets are being valued correctly by the right valuer.
And also things like obviously because we work so closely with the state nominations on these sort of applications that there's a lot of feedback coming back. How many places are available this month?
Yeah.
What they're expecting for this month. What's the priority on which visas they list out as well. They have a priority list which they come up every month, and also things like what priority industries they want in their sort of in WA at the sort of time as well.
Yeah.
So the whole concept of us is we do the business research. We explore the opportunities for our clients. We meet the consultants, such as the accountants, the bankers, and brokers and agents. We also sort out schools for our clients. So because a lot of our clients sit in the age range where their kids are in school. So it's always good to put them in the better residential suburbs where we obviously have better schools and private schools and public schools and whatnot.
What was the other day you went to go see some of the fund management firms for the 188Cs. And then there was traditional guys that were quite strong in the market.
Yeah.
What happened again?
So obviously we also look at things like when we speak to things like investment advisors or finance advisors.
Yeah.
See, when we speak to them, they say that, best not to go directly to a fund. The 1AC is a very gray area in terms of the fund, is because there are a lot of funds salesmen out there that are sort of working for the actual investment fund, which are just going to market to you as the client on you should invest in my fund, you should invest in this. While in theory, we should be actually getting our clients to seek financial advice. They need to sit down with a financial planner or financial advisor to work out the best plan possible for them.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And it's very difficult, again, if you don't meet the right people, you're just going to buy this or invest in this stock because you've been advised by somebody who's not even accredited.
Yeah.
So it's very dangerous as well. And unfortunately, we see this happen quite a bit. And hence why we're reaching out to you. Although that we're not in your country, we are here in the country where you're looking to potentially to migrate. And we are here to assist you in these matters. So I guess, everyone wants to continue with the weekend. So we should have taken a break and asked some questions right through. But I thought I might use this opportunity now to perhaps allow you to ask some questions if you like. But also, feel free to directly message us or email us as well, where I can discuss matters with you privately. I do understand that it is a bit difficult to ask questions on in a public forum.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. It's a sensitive topic.
Very sensitive because it's very difficult when you don't know who's on the other side. But if there's any general questions, feel free to ask. If not, do contact us directly, and we're more than happy to do a teleconference with you and discuss your matters. No, I don't think there's any questions today. No. No. So guys, thank you for the opportunity to present it to you today and taking the time on the weekend. I do understand that Saturdays are very critical for family time, so we do appreciate your time and consideration today. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.